Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded and it is day one of our February 2025 release, and I have a two-card video today. Hey, so I am using on the first card the Gnome Friends Honeybee die that's brand new, the new Be Kind stamp set from Jaded Blossom, mini tag dies, photo frame dies, bug trail dies, rectangle strip card mat die, along with Echo Park's Be Happy 6-inch pad. And I did put together this bee on the Gnome Friends Honeybee Dies assembly video, so check that out. So first I have a piece of just Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock covered in score tape. And I'm going to remove that with my little piercing tool. And I'm going to, and that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4 inches, which is the size of this rectangle strip card mat die. And I'm going to apply this piece of paper, and that was cut from, what is it called? Geeman Tyndall wood grain cardstock. I got it from cutcardstock.com back in the day, but all it is craft colored wood grain cardstock. Now I'm going to alternate the strips that were cut from that Echo Park Be Happy 6-inch pad. I love doing this with these card mat dies. Fill it in like a puzzle. I like that the score tape holds everything nice and cleanly. There's no, glue oozing out all over the place. It's just a great way to use these dies. So there we go. So we're just alternating the striped and the little bee pattern. I love this pad from Echo Park. It is super cute, especially with this new release. Okay, so now I have a piece of Paper Trank white cardstock cut at 4.25 by 11, and I'm scoring it at 5.5 inches with my Martha Stewart scoreboard and my Teflon bone folder. Any scoreboard will do, but boy, do you need a Teflon bone folder. It's my best friend for crafting. I love it. Okay, so there we go. So I am working on a Stampin' Up! Pad as per usual. All my die cutting was done with my Anna Griffin Empress machine. Kind of what I always do. So now I'm taking my ATG gun and I'm running some tape across the back of this whole background. There we go. And I'm going to try and center this as good as I can on this card base. I'm kind of challenged at that lately, but, I'm doing my best. What can I say? The craft really pops on the white card base, I think. So I quite like that. I'm just using that piercing tool to get any slivers that are hanging off. I probably should have used my nail sponge to kind of clean up the edges, but, you don't always remember at the time when you're making a card, right? So there. Now on the inside, I'm going to add a strip of paper. And that's from the same paper line, the Be Happy 6-inch pad from Echo Park. There we go, adding a 1-inch strip. And I will trim off that overhang with a pair of scissors. Kind of decorates the inside a bit, right? There we are. And there. So now I did go ahead and I cut out this photo frame die from Jaded Blossom out of that same craft wood grain cardstock. It's a really heavyweight wood grain, which I quite like. And I'm going to stick that down onto a piece of white Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock cut at the same size. And I'm just weighting that down so it dries. So these are the dies that came from the Jaded Blossom original mini tag die set. So there's a little hexagon and a little scalloped base layer die, that kind of trims it out. And I'm going to cut the word hi from it. That also came from the photo frame die. And then I'm also cutting this little bug trail into the little blue pattern background. And that blue pattern is from that same Echo Park Be Happy 6-inch pad. And I'm going to be putting that in the photo frame as my background, behind my bee. So I cut the word hi out of that yellow American Crafts cardstock. There we go. So now I'm going to glue down this piece of paper into my photo frame. So obviously I cut this blue patterned paper out, or I use this blue pattern and I use that photo frame die again to cut this out so it fits in perfectly, right? And I will weight it down. Okay, so I did use Smoky Shadow paper tray cardstock to cut that scalloped hexagon layer. And I'm going to add some score tape to the back of the yellow American Crafts hexagon layer. And I'm going to trim that overhang off. And I'm doing that so I can inset those letters that I do cut again out of some Smoky Shadow cardstock. Now, I could have just glued this down centered on that scallop background, and you would have seen the Smoky Shadow high peeking through. But I wanted to have that inlaid look with the stitching on my letters. I just think it looks better. So that's what I was working on. So I'm going to line that up on that Smoky Shadow base using my reverse tweezers again. Oops. There we go. And I'm just trying to get off that little bit of slivers that were hanging off. So I'm going to add the word high in with my embellishment wand. And I just will make sure that's down, and look how great that looks. I just think it looks great. Okay, so on the inside, I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the Be Kind 6, or the new Be Kind stamp set from Jaded Blossom. So it says buzzing by to say happy birthday. And I'm using my Misty and a Misty corner just to get it straight. And I'm going to use my VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink to stamp that sentiment. There we go. And I'm using the Odds and Ends Farmer's Market from Doodlebug. And I'm going to grab this little bee out of there. And I'm going to put that on the inside because, I like to kind of echo what's going on the outside on the inside, right? So isn't that cute? Doodlebug has all these odds and ends, and I like to use them on the insides of my cards. I'm just going to put a Post-it note just to keep the inside of my card clean from that VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink as it dries. Now I am going to add some ATG tape to the back of this photo frame, and I'm going to kind of lay it on the front of my card at an angle. Because sometimes having things, off kilter kind of adds something to the design, right? So I'm going to stick down my little bee. Now you can watch me put that bee together on the Gnome Friends Honeybee Dies assembly video. But everything that I used to make this bee will be listed in my blog post, which is linked below this video. So I'm going to get my little bee standing up, and isn't he the cutest thing? Oh my goodness, just adorable. You got his little bee, heart-shaped bee trail behind him. You can't really see it in the video as much, but in real life you can see the impression of that stitching. It looks super cute. So now I'm going to pop up this little hexagon sentiment with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals in black. And I'm going to pop that in place on the front of my card. So this is a very simple card once you have that bee assembled, right? So I'm going to pull out some shape sprinkles from Doodlebug. These are called Love This. And I'm going to use some yellow ones. So remember, use what you have. But I have these, so I thought I'm going to use these ones. And I have these shape sprinkles coming out the wazoo, and I've got to use them. I've got to make an effort to use them up because there's a lot of them in my craft room. And I'm not complaining because they're greatest, but got to use them up. So I'm just adding 5 of these. So 3 in the upper left and 2 in the lower. And there is my adorable card. So I'm going to take my Secure White Jelly Roll pen and a number 10 to add some highlights to this little bee because of course, why wouldn't you, right? It's too cute. And a black glaze pen, I'm going to tap his little eyes just to make his eyes a little bit more shiny. And they add a little bit of dimension too. But remember, you're going to have to put this off to the side to dry. Okay, so now I'm starting my next card. So I'm using those same Gnome Friends Honeybee dies, but this time the bee faces, Sealed with a Kiss stamp set, Jaded Blossom's Gnome Gift Card Slider die, and the Gnome Gift Card Slider letter add-ons. Sorry, guys. And the Echo Park Be Happy 6-inch pad again. So I have a piece of Paper Trank white cardstock again, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches with my Martha Stewart scoreboard and my Teflon bone folder. There we go. And I've got a piece of paper, and that is cut 1/8 of an inch smaller than an HU size card front. And that's from that Be Happy 6-inch paper line. Really cute stuff. There we go. And I'm going to add that on my card base, trying to get it centered. It's got a cute little all over flower and bee pattern, which is fun. There we are. Now next I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the inside of this card. And I'm using that Be Kind new stamp set from Jaded Blossom again. And we'll be stamping that. It says Happy Bee Day. And I'll stamp that in that same VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink because it's kind of my favorite, right? There we go. And I love the font on this one as well. There we go. Remember, don't press too hard. This time I only had to stamp it once, which was good. So now I'm going to stamp the bee faces on this little head that I cut from Jaded Blossom's Be Kind, or not Be Kind, Gnome Friends Honeybee Dies. And I cut that from American Crafts yellow cardstock. So I'm going to stamp this little face on the head of this bee. There we go. And isn't that cute? Just adorable. Okay, so now on the inside, I'm going to add some pattern paper from that Echo Park 6-inch pad, Be Happy. So I'm using this piece here, which has a hole in it. That's the top of this bee pattern. And I'm going to trim off that overhang with a pair of scissors. And then I'm going to cover it with another strip of leftover paper from that same pad. So that's about I don't know, it's about an inch for that piece and about a half an inch or so for the other piece. I'm going to use some score tape for that. And I'm going to sort of line it up along the edge, covering the hole. I use that grid on that Stampin' Up! Background there that I work on, the Stampin' Up! Pad, just to line things up, because I can't eyeball anything anymore. I'm blind. There we go. So I'm going to trim off that overhang, like I said, with a pair of scissors. And there. So I'm using the cute sticker sheet from the 12-inch Be Happy paper line. And I'm going to put that on the inside like you saw. Okay, so I am putting together this little stamp first. That's cut from Paper to Ink white cardstock, and then paper from that 6-inch pad from the Be Happy Echo Park line, and the 12-inch, right? Because that big honeycomb pattern is 12-inch. And the idea is I'm going to have this little bee holding a piece of mail, like a letter, right? So now I didn't cut this bee completely out because he's only going to be peeking up behind this little letter. So I thought, why waste the paper? So American Crafts yellow cardstock, Paper to Ink white cardstock for the wings. And then this yellow cardstock again for this little thorax part. I think it's called the thorax. There we are. Now, I realize I screwed up when I go to glue my face on because there's two heads and the hair is, like the little tuft of hair in between the antenna is going both ways. And I grabbed the wrong one, but I already stamped it. I'm not going to waste it. So I just cut the hair off this background layer. Sorry, I might be out of picture a little bit, but that's all I did. I didn't want to bother recutting things, right? Why waste it? So now I'm going to add on my little antenna that were cut from American Crafts black cardstock. Okay, so just lining up those antennae. And there we go. So now I'm pulling out my EK Success chalk. I know you can't get this anymore, but, and this is a little chalk holder that has it. You could use like an R20 Copic marker and a 0 to blend it out if you wanted. Now I'm taking an RV29 marker just to tap the tongue. Be careful, VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink is not compatible. I'm also using a YR24 just to tap the nose. So now I'm going to use a secure white jelly roll pen and a number 10 to add some freckles because I can't help myself, right? And how cute is this bee face? Oh my gosh, so adorable. I love these bees. I just can't get enough. So now I'm going to do some stamping on this letter using this Sealed with a Kiss stamp set from Jaded Blossom. This was from the last release. Super cute. So I'm going to stamp birthday mail on the bottom of it. And then the little cancellation stripes, or cancellation mark, I guess it's called. And this little round piece that says happy birthday. But first I've got to get the little stitching lines, like, you know, who it's to sort of thing. And then I will stamp that little round happy birthday kind of cancellation mark stamp afterwards. So I'm just going to stamp that all. This is what a Misty is for. So good. I love this stamp positioner. There we go. So remember, don't press too hard because you don't want things to smear, or, you know, you don't want your images to be wider than they should. Now I'm just moving this up just for ease. And now I'm going to stamp that other little stamp that says happy birthday on it. There we go. And isn't that cute? I just think it's adorable. So I did cut out the little star. There are stars in that Gnome Friends or Gnome gift card slider letter add-ons set. So I cut the little star out of paper from that Echo Park Be Happy 6-inch pad. I'm going to glue this down onto my card with some, or actually onto a piece of that wood grain, G. Tindalo wood grain cardstock. It's just craft wood grain cardstock cut 1/8 of an inch larger than this piece of mail, and I'm going to weight it down. I just wanted it to be a little thicker and have a, you know, a little bit of a border so it pops more in the background. Now I'm going to add that to my card front with some ATG tape, trying to line it up. So I'm going to get my little bee there. And I'm using that same ATG tape will hold the bee in place until I get some glue behind him as well. And isn't that cute? There we go. So now I'm going to just carefully get some glue behind this guy and get him in place behind my little piece of mail. I'm just going to weight that down. And isn't that the cutest? So now I'm going to add little arms on. Those were cut from Smoky Shadow cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. It's just a gray. I'm just going to have him kind of holding this piece of mail with his little legs, or front arms, I guess. I don't know. Isn't that sweet? I just love this. It is so cute. There we go. So now I'm using this Shape Sprinkles called Fall Friends, and it's got a little bee in it. And I'm going to add that to my stamp to make it look like that's the little image on the stamp, right? It's a little bit big, but I think it works. Just looks too cute. Now I did go ahead and cut the hearts from Smoky Shadow cardstock. These heart dies are also from the Gnome gift card slider letter add-on set. Super versatile. And I just cut out 5 of them. So 2 in the lower right, and then 3 in the upper left on the card. And this was a super easy card to do, really, right? There we go. And, you know, fun. You know, with the little letter add-ons, it's always fun. So there we go. So those are my 2 cards for today. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, be inspired by the team. The Jaded Blossom store to maybe get that Gotta Have It Now. Otherwise, you got to wait till release day when you can get things a la carte in the store. So thank you for watching. Make sure you're a follower over at the Jaded Blossom YouTube site and the Lee Kubinek YouTube site. Bye, everybody.